Okay, so welcome back to episode 2 of my podcast. Before I start this podcast, I want to say I am now in the modern age. I don't know what I was in that previous episode, maybe like 1876, but now I can confidently say I am in 2024. I am in the modern age. And I'm not a crackhead. So basically, what happened, I forgot when, but during this week, when I got home from work, randomly the Wi-Fi just cut off, and I just expected it to come back, but it never did. But I was sleepy as hell, so I went to sleep, and thinking that it was going to come back on in the morning. It did not. So when I woke up, I called the Wi-Fi people, and they were like, "Yeah, if you want it fixed ASAP, we can come later today in the afternoon." And yeah, I have homework. Of course, I want to fix it ASAP. So they came over, they put up a new pole, they put up a new antenna on that new pole, and they were like, "Yeah, this has a direct view of the new tower. Like, you should be getting way better speeds than before." And yeah, I don't want to say what my upload and download speeds were before, but it was definitely not what was advertised for the plan I was paying on the internet services website. So once they left and they were giving me the rundown on everything that they did, they were like, "Yeah, you're now in the modern age." And I was trying my best to not laugh in this dude's face. And don't get me wrong, the way that he said it, he wanted to laugh. But the laugh that I was going to give him, he was going to take it as a personal offense to him. Like, "No, dude, I just think what you said was super fucking funny." So for the rest of this week, I've been telling, well, specifically my little brother, I've been annoying him with this. But for instance, I went to my parents' house and I opened his bedroom door, and I pretended that I was like walking into it like an alien planet. And I was like, "Whoa, is this 2024? I'm from medieval times. Do you guys still use forks?" And he knew what happened with the Wi-Fi. He knew what they said, so he knew the bullshit that I was about to be on. He was already done with me. But this whole week I've just been loving saying, "Whoa, I'm in the modern age now." And yeah, there is a reason I am recording this podcast episode and even uploading it to YouTube, because trust, with the Wi-Fi I had before, that shit would have taken hours to even upload. Now it takes like 15 minutes, which is nothing. Nothing. So yeah, welcome back to my podcast. I don't know if I said that. That was very rude of me again. But I'm in the modern age now. And with episode 1 of my little podcast being up, I do want to clarify on some things that I misspoke on, specifically with the video game section. So, the PS5, it obviously has games. But when I mean that it doesn't have games, I mean that a lot of the games are also on Xbox, PC, or Switch. So there's not really an incentive for me to buy a PlayStation so I can exclusively play these games, because they're not exclusive to PlayStation. And even then, the games that are exclusive to PlayStation, like in the beginning of the PS5, Spider-Man released, but Spider-Man also released on PS4. God of War released, but God of War also released on PS4. So it's kind of like, why am I getting a PS5 if these games are also... A lot of the first-party games now are on PS5, but even a lot of third-party, like other developers developing for these big companies, they're also on other consoles and on PS4. So really, why am I getting a PS5? And I also want to further specify, I hate Bloodborne elements. That's why I'm tired of these fucking video games. I am tired of Bloodborne elements. I'm tired of Souls-like elements. I just want to play a whimsical game. I don't want to follow a path, and then there's a big giant enemy with a giant health bar on top of him that I can't continue the story without beating him. And then I continue walking, and then I fight another enemy with another health bar on top, and then I get a power-up, and then I have to backtrack to another part of the map because I needed to open the door, but I couldn't open it without this power-up. I'm tired of Bloodborne elements. I'm tired. And that's the thing. I didn't specifically seek out these games because they had Bloodborne elements, but all of them have Bloodborne elements, and I'm tired of it. And also, when I talked about people that played Call of Duty, that started playing Call of Duty in middle school, I said that they grow up to be the most successful of people. That's not really what I meant. What I meant to say was, did these people grow up to be morally the best people? Because I can say with full confidence from personal experience that a lot of the people that I knew that started playing Call of Duty in middle school, I don't want to surround myself with those people. I don't want to give them the benefit of a doubt and to let them think that I think they're cool, because they're not. There's a lot of things that they have said and a lot of things that they have done that I don't agree with. And I'm not saying everybody who played Call of Duty in middle school is like this, but from personal experience, there is a common factor, and it is that they were introduced to these type of things from a very young age. And I feel like that has desensitized kids. I'm not a fucking therapist. This is all just anecdotal evidence and from my own experience. But yeah, I wanted to further clarify. I did not mean that these people grow up to be successful. I meant to say that these people grow up to be morally okay. At least okay. Because too many times have I met dudes that have said they just need to shut the fuck up. And I will give them a major fucking side eye. And then, ooh, surprise, they love Call of Duty. Okay, and now for the first topic of this episode. And never in my fucking life did I think I would even say these things together. But Baby Gronk and the Rizzler. So I have been on the internet for the past few months, and I have very much seen Baby Gronk and the Rizzler. I've seen that thrown around everywhere. But for the longest time, I just thought that's what it was. I just thought these were names being thrown around. Like, oh, you're the Rizzler, like you have Riz. Like, I just thought it was that. I did not know that the Rizzler is an actual kid. An actual kid who goes by the name the Rizzler. And he's like 4 or 5? I don't know. And then Baby Gronk. Oh my god, Baby Gronk. So I was on Instagram, right? And there's this one page. It used to be Shade Room Oklahoma. I don't know the name. Actually, it's signed by Oklahoma. That's what it is. Signed by Oklahoma. So they posted a video, and I had to look at it 4 times because it said Baby Gronk records diss track at the University of Oklahoma. And what the fuck do you mean Baby Gronk is at OU? What the fuck do you mean Baby Gronk is a kid? What the fuck do you mean? But yeah, I did not know that these were kids, and since learning that, it just really worries me how susceptible these kids can become to the internet and its influence, because I have seen time and time again, like I said before, too many motherfuckers have platforms that shouldn't. Logan Paul, Jake Paul. If I could go back in time, well, no, I don't need to go back in time. I actually have a pitch for a really good idea. So imagine a Big Brother style reality TV show, 24/7 camera live stream. Boom. Put as many influencers, YouTubers, TikTokers, that type of genre of people. Only one of them can leave with their bank account intact. Everybody else who gets eliminated has to leave with a job application. And I look at a lot of these YouTubers and I feel like they would be perfect for Best Buy. Best Buy application, that blue uniform, looks great on them. Logan Paul, you do amazing at the TV section. But yeah, too many people have platforms and they definitely shouldn't. And I'm not saying the Rizzler or Baby Gronk. I don't know. But again, these are kids. They are very susceptible to... How can I word this? And I guess my fear is that, for instance, like somebody like the Rizzler, I don't want this kid to grow up to be entitled and be like, yo, I'm the Rizzler. Why don't you like me? Why don't you want to get with me? And then boom, we see an article where he does some very heinous things. And it's like, oh, former child influencer, the Rizzler, got caught, blah, 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 blah. No. Let these kids have a normal fucking life. Let them go to school. I saw some video of like the Rizzler like just playing in a Black Panther outfit. Let him be Black Panther for Halloween and let him get as much fucking candy as he wants, and do not put a fucking camera up to that kid that night. Let him have fun. Baby Gronk, I feel like he's old enough to where he can decide for himself that he wants this for him. But also the other thing, the Rizzler, those 2 older dudes that look like his Pokemon evolutions, not related to him at all. Not related to him at all. Not even uncles, not cousins. They are not related. And I know the dad of the Rizzler. I saw some like YouTube remix. Also, Jersey Joe was in that remix, which was the funniest thing ever, because I did not expect Jersey Joe. He was like, yeah, we're all a part of the gang. Where the hell were you when they were eating the Costco double chocolate chunk cookie? Where were you, Jersey Joe? But funniest thing ever to see him show up in that video. But the dad of the Rizzler was also there. So I know he is in communication with them, and it's not like, hey, we're gonna give you to these random two people that we don't know, and we're just gonna stay at home and watch you on the internet. Like, the dad is there. But time and time again have I seen parents exploit their children, especially on YouTube, for money. And as much as I would love to believe that they have the best interest of their child in mind, time and time again have I been proven wrong, and I have seen articles of pretty heinous things that the parents have done just to keep these kids to want to continue making videos. So if you're the Rizzler, if you're by chance listening to this, I just hope you know that you do not need to stay on the internet for your entirety of your life. If for whatever reason you're going down and it's just not working out, that's fine, dude. That's fine. Just because you have been on internet persona since you were a kid does not mean that you need to be one your entire life. Please. And that goes for any child influencer, not just the Rizzler. By chance, I was gonna say Addison Rae, but I'm pretty sure she's a whole goddamn adult now. I don't know any other influencer kids, but if you are an influencer kid, and if you're listening to this, just I hope you know that I see you for you, and not for your username. And please surround yourself with people with that same mentality, because they will take advantage of you. And while I'm on the topic of influencers on TikTok that I feel like are being taken advantage of, ShawtyBae. This girl. Okay, so I feel like I can say that I was on TikTok during the beginning of ShawtyBae's first postings, right? When she was just first posting, and I could tell from the get-go that it was very obvious that people were only watching her to make fun of her. And there's a name to this. It's called the lol cow. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically anybody whose personality can be exploited by the internet or just anybody viewing. If y'all know who Chris Chan is, which if you don't look it up. I'm not recommending you to look it up. But if you do know who Chris Chan is, you are aware of what a lol cow is. Or Tofia Chu. If y'all know Tofia Chu, she's also considered a lol cow. But they're both considered lol cows. And I would also consider Shawty one. Because I just feel like in more ways than one, she is just being taken advantage of. Either by her family, by her fans, quote unquote fans, and even by like previous managers. I don't know about her current manager, but I know that there have been stories of her previous managers just not knowing her at all and not really understanding what Shawty wants. But a bigger problem that I want to address specifically, yes, there are people all over the world, all over the United States of many different ethnicities, backgrounds, watching Shawty and kind of making her go into not her best life. But more specifically, I want to address the Mexican community, because it's as much beauty as we have so much ugliness and disgusting behavior that we normalize, and I'm going to tie it back to ShawtyBae. So Latino culture, and more specifically Mexican culture, is very intertwined with humor and sarcasm, and I feel like a lot of times we don't realize the type of harm that we are causing with these type of jokes. Like, ask anybody who had the nickname gordo, gorda, flaco, flaca, ask them what that did to them mentally growing up, and that's the type of stuff that we normalize. It happens all the time. So another thing that I want to mention is misogyny in our culture. So in any culture, any culture, women are the backbone. That is my full stance. I sincerely believe that women are the backbone of every culture. But I can say that for Mexican culture, both in America and Mexico, women, if you are a Mexican woman, my hat to you. If you are a first generation Mexican daughter, my everything to you. And it pisses me off that we have this culture where women are so important, but yet we bring them down so many times. Like, too many times have I met Latino women where they feel the need to make fun of themselves before I do that to them. And like, I'm sorry, but I'm not your dad. I'm sorry, but I'm not your brothers. I'm sorry, but I'm not your male cousins. And sadly, I'm sorry, but I'm not your mom. And it's really sad that so many Latino women grow up in a environment where they are not praised and shown the appreciation that they rightfully deserve. So to tie this back to Shawty, because I feel like I was getting a little sidetracked, you have this culture where humor and sarcasm is so mixed in with how we talk and how we communicate with each other, and where we have misogyny, I would say, embedded into our culture, and multiply that with the internet, and I would say I want to be surprised that we get things like the reactions to ShawtyBae, but I am not surprised. I sadly am not surprised. And part of me feels crazy saying that, but I know I'm not, because I look at American culture that is very individualistic, and you multiply that with the internet, and you get this internet culture where people want to have their opinions triumph over the other, and it's always people trying to be superior over another. So I think about Mexican culture in that way, and I am not surprised. But the thing that really pissed me off is regarding her OF video. So it got leaked, and it's going around. I did not seek out this information, but I was on Instagram and I got one of those barber videos where like they record the back of the head of somebody who got the haircut, and basically the dude in the chair has his phone in front of him, so you can see from a distance his screen, and it is ShawtyBae's video. And it is so disgusting that there are probably multiple people that saw that video and laughed and did not say anything before it was posted. That is not normal. That is not right. That is not correct. And it's crazy that there are so many people that are now then watching that video and laughing and sharing, and it's even crazier thinking that there are women who are doing this. Like, no, this is the complete opposite of what everybody should be doing. And I would love to further get into this topic, but I am also aware that I am a man talking about feminism, and that is pretty cringy. So I would love to go on, but I feel like I need specifically a woman to bounce off this, and also part of it for validation, because I know I'm not crazy, but I say this and I feel like there's going to be a whole bunch of straight dudes that go after me for even just saying this. And I would love to pull an Aaron Yeager and bring everybody into my mental headspace so we can have a conversation, all Mexicans together. But sadly, I can't do that. So I'll leave it off by saying, you might not think that you have problems, but our community definitely does. And there are a lot of things that we normalize. So please, seek therapy. So, that's where I'll leave it off. Next subject. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes for the things that I wanted to talk about, and one of them is Bad Bunny's new haircut. But I don't know why I wrote this down. I feel like I need somebody to bounce off this, or like a guest, because if my best friend was here, we could talk about the hot topics all day. But I guess I had a lot more to say when I first saw it. But I mean, he looks good. It's red. I could say a lot more, but we're gonna keep it PG. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why I wrote that down. I really don't know. Okay, but something that I wrote down that I do know why, I wrote on my notes, go to things alone, the world won't end, let yourself experience. And I say that like I follow it every day, but no, I have a lot of anxiety, and there have been a lot of movies that I will watch at home and I'll be like, damn, I really wish I watched it in theaters, but I did not have somebody to go with, so I just don't. Do not deprive yourself from these experiences. Please, and especially art, especially for art. Do not deprive yourself from art because you don't have somebody to experience it with. You have yourself to experience it with. And I'm praising it like I follow it every time, but I don't. I did see a movie alone this week, and I'll get into it later. The only other time that I saw a movie alone was Blue Beetle and then Deadpool and Wolverine. I think I might go see Look Back. I'll get into it later, but yeah. But the story to this. So, there are very few bands that I would say I will cry watching. I'll give you a list of 4 that I can confidently say. One of them is Los Yesterdays, but they only fucking perform in California. Please, come to Oklahoma. Please. Chicano Batman. And then these last 2 aren't bands, but Love with the Philharmonic Orchestra and Adele. If I saw either of these live, I would absolutely bawl. So, if y'all don't know, the band Chicano Batman, They posted on Instagram on September 20th that they will be going on an indefinite hiatus after this tour ends. And if y'all don't know what indefinite hiatus means, they're breaking up. Well, if it's for other things, sometimes it is just a hiatus, but for bands, usually this is a breakup. And they came to Oklahoma City in April, but it was on my mom's birthday, and we didn't even do anything that day. Like, I genuinely believe that there would be no problem if I asked my mom, like, hey, can I go to this concert on your birthday? Because tickets were pretty cheap. We weren't doing anything for my mom the day of. I really don't think she would have had a problem. But the only reason that I did not go was because I did not have somebody to go with. And you don't know how fucking shitty I felt reading that post. So please, take this as a sign. If you want to go somewhere, and especially experience art, but don't have anyone to go with, just fucking go. Do it for me. Please. And I did go see a Pauly D DJ set in July. I did not go to that alone. I did go with friends. Thankfully, I had friends that wanted to go. But not everybody can say they went to a Pauly D set. Some people, that's on their bucket list, so I can cross that off mine. But yeah, please let yourself experience art. But okay, next subject. Too much of this. Okay, so everything that you heard before this sentence that I just started with the okay, so that was all recorded on Friday. It is now Sunday, and I was going to record more, but then I found out that the Look Back movie that I mentioned earlier, it was only screening for 2 days, the October 4th and 5th. I have worked the 5th, so obviously I'm going to go to the 4th. I'm not going to miss this, and especially with me talking about, oh, don't let yourself not experience things because you're going to go alone. I had to eat my words and just go alone. And I did, so I'm going to talk about it later. But first, wait, hold on, because I wrote down notes. Okay, so y'all know the Cybertruck, right? So for the past, I want to say 2 weeks, there was this, well, it was before that. There was a Cybertruck that was around my neighborhood, and even my brother and my dad was like, hey, we saw a Cybertruck drive around the neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, I think I've seen it too. But I'm pretty sure this same dude, because all of a sudden this Cybertruck is no longer seen, and now we only see this specific colored Cybertruck. So for the past 2 weeks, I've been seeing this ugly ass fucking green wrapped Tesla Cybertruck. 3 times did I have left work, and this is at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. I leave work. 3 times on separate occasions, I have walked out of my job, gotten onto the road, and all of a sudden I see this green Cybertruck. And it's dangerous. I play Fortnite. I see a Cybertruck, I want to run into you and steal your medallion. Don't fucking lie, dude. I know you have it. It's dangerous out here. But on my way to the movie theater today to see Look Back, I pull into the parking lot, and you would not believe who I fucking see. The same green colored wrapped Cybertruck. And I find it hard to believe that there are 2 motherfuckers that wanted this ugly ass fucking color on that ugly ass fucking truck. They're haunting me. They're following me. I'm scared. I'm just kidding. I know they're not following me for the most part, but it is such, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just every time I see that truck, I cannot help but to scream instinctively. I don't know if it's because I want to ram into them and get the medallion, or I'm just scared that it's going to ram into me, but I blame Fortnite. Okay, but without further ado, and no, I did not watch Joker Folie à Deux, let me get into what I've been watching, reading, listening, whatever. Okay, so first I feel like I have to get into my superhero power hour nerd show, The Penguin and Agatha All Along. So last episode I was like, if y'all want to watch the show, I don't want to speak on them too early, but now I can say with full confidence that I like both of these shows. And it is the crazy psycho girls that get me into them. Let me talk about the Penguin first. Something about Sophia Falcone, my beloved, the woman that you are, Sophia Falcone. Wow, she intrigues me. And I feel like it was the fact that she is from, well, she's not from, but she was in the Arkham Asylum. If y'all don't know what Arkham Asylum is, that's where all the crazy motherfuckers in Gotham go. That's where the Joker is. So, Sophia Falcone went in there, and then she got rehabilitated. What the fuck do you mean you got rehabilitated from Arkham Asylum? When I heard that, immediately my eyes fucking perked. And then I took a glance at her. Oh my god, I love her so much. She may be crazy and she may murder me without hesitation or second guess, like maybe out of instinct, but that's fine. That's fine. Like, to me, she is the definition of baby girl. Like, look up baby girl, you get Sophia Falcone. But she is also the villain of the show. Like, there's the Penguin, and even though he is a villain to Batman, he is the protagonist of the show. So the villain of the show is Sophia Falcone. And I love how close the Penguin and Sophia are to each other, and yet she doesn't know that the Penguin is the one that she's after. And it kind of reminds me of like Death Note, where it's kind of like a cat and mouse game, and I think that's why I like it so much. But also, Sophia Falcone, I love you. But I can say with full confidence that I recommend The Penguin. It's a little slow in episode 1, and it has that same atmosphere of the Batman. But episode 2, and once you get into Sophia Falcone, it really picks up. And I hate that I record this on Sunday, knowing damn well that episodes get released Sunday night. So I know episode 3, I'm going to watch this as soon as I finish this. But to move on to the other crazy psycho lady of my week, and Agatha all along. Not Agatha herself. She's cool. I have nothing against her. But Rio Vidal, played by Aubrey Plaza. Oh my god. This episode 4, it's gay as fuck, and I fucking love it. In episode 1 and 2, the second that Aubrey Plaza walks into the scene, you could feel the tension between her and Catherine Hahn. Episode 3, she was gone, and people were speculating, like, oh, do they have a possible history together? And to me, it was obvious, but I never thought that they were going to confirm it like this. These motherfuckers are gay. Like, let's leave this all behind and take a trip to Switzerland type of gay. That's gay as fuck. And before I continue talking about them, let me just talk about the rest of the episode. So, I really like the music, the new rendition of Down the Witch's Road, which is like a more classic rock feel. Loved it, amazing. Alice's arc throughout the episode was amazing. I thought it was so sweet, her coming to the realization of her mom and all that stuff. So sweet. Patti LuPone with the Zells and with the triangle and with like the most, I don't want to say that these take minimal work to work, but obviously there is how do I say this word? CUNTY vibe to Patti LuPone. Everybody has guitars, drums, singing, playing the piano, and Patti LuPone has the fucking Zells. I love all the twists and all the little subtle hints, because there's some things, like some glances to specific characters, like specific characters locking eyes at specific scenes, where I'm like, is this going to come back later? And I hope it does, because otherwise, why? But I like the twists that happened this episode. I really am glad that I am watching it weekly, and I can be part of this speculation, because it really feels like we haven't had anything this speculative since WandaVision. And I miss it. I miss that sense of community online. But back to the lesbians. So, Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza, their characters, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but at the very end, they almost kiss. And this is not me reading into shit. This is not me. They were very, very obviously going to kiss. You could see the look in their eyes. You could see Agatha lean forward, but then they didn't. And I love it. Why do I love it? I love it because the narrative demanded that they didn't kiss. It wasn't like, oh, we don't want to lose money from other countries or funding from other places, and we don't want people throwing around the fucking word woke. It's not some censorship bullshit like that. They didn't kiss because that's what the narrative demanded, which is amazing. And Kathryn Hahn is a really, really great actress because in that final scene, you can see her face shift from being so happy, thinking that things are going to go right for once, to all of a sudden everything is crashing down. And you can see her go from happiness to sad to all of a sudden her putting on that fake smile. So good. So, so good. But yeah, if you are Kevin Feige or any Marvel executive slash producer listening, add more gay shit. More gay shit. Well, just put more no more. That will suffice. Just more no more. Thank you. Okay, but on to a new show that I did not talk about last week. So, this is all new to y'all. It's called Dan Da Dan. It's spelled Dan. And it pisses me off that motherfuckers cannot pronounce it. Motherfucker, sound it out. Jesus fucking Christ. Are you 7? Dan Da Dan. Jesus. But okay, I first read this. So a while back, I got really, really tired of just watching action anime. So many fights and so many fucking power systems that I need to learn. And I just got tired of it. So I wanted to watch a nice little rom-com anime. And at first I started watching Nana. But then I realized how much fucking emotional damage that does to me. So I stopped watching Nana. And then I wanted to get into a new one. And that's when I found Dan Da Dan. And if you look up anything about this manga anime, you will never in your life guess that it is a rom-com. And I don't blame you. I knew about this for a while before I even started reading it. And I never would have guessed that it was a rom-com. But basically, it's about this boy who believes in aliens but not ghosts, and this girl who believes in ghosts but not aliens, and they challenge each other to try to prove the other one right? And accidentally, they do prove each other right, but then they also get harassed by the ghost and aliens, and the boy ends up getting ghost powers, and the girl ends up getting psychic alien powers, right? And I know this doesn't make sense, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, what the fuck, where does the romance come in? So, basically, this boy has never had friends, and the only friend that he has ever had is this girl named Momo. And Momo has just broken up with her boyfriend, and very, very much likes this dude, which is Japan's Clint Eastwood, and it's an actual guy named Ken Takakura. So, after all of this happens, she asks the dude what's his name, and would you believe it, his name is Ken Takakura. So, they continue being friends. They're both kind of stubborn and don't want to admit that they like each other, even though they very obviously do. And here and there, some ghosts come back or some aliens come back and they want to fight them. And these aliens and ghosts are fucking weird. Like, for instance, one of the aliens is this human-looking thing with a crab head and with punching gloves on his hand. And he specifically only sings Chiquitita by ABBA. Why? Because he has a really, really sad backstory about his little daughter. I'm not going to get into it, but this shit is weird. But aside from fighting the aliens and fighting the ghost, it becomes a love square anime where these two characters like each other, but then there's a second girl introduced who hates the first girl but loves the dude, and the second dude who hates the dude but loves the first girl, and it becomes a love square, and they each get powers. I'm not going to explain how the other two got powers, but they all get powers and they all fight aliens and ghosts, and it's also a rom-com. I recommend it. I stopped reading after the second dude got introduced into the story, a little bit after. Nothing against the manga, I just stopped reading and haven't gotten back into it, but I really want to, and anybody that maybe wants to from what I gave, go ahead. Okay, and the only song that I have to recommend this week is the opening for Dan Da Dan, which is really good. It's by a band called Creepy Nuts. They are a Japanese band who does a lot of Jersey remixes. Like, I have never heard a Japanese band do Jersey remixes, but they do it pretty fucking good. If y'all know the anime Mashal, they also did the opening, I think it's called Bling Bang Bang Born, if I'm not wrong. But this opening is called Otonoke by Creepy Nuts. And I specifically recommend watching it with the visuals of the anime opening because I feel like it really complements it really well. And the song is really fucking crazy, so it really complements the weirdness of Dan Da Dan really well. So, yeah, only song I recommend, Otonoke by Creepy Nuts. Go ahead. But now, let me get into the two movies that I watched alone this week. So first, I'm gonna get into the wild robot. So the synopsis for this movie is this helper robot, which is big and giant. Her name is Roz. Accidentally washes up ashore on an island where there are no humans and there are only animals, but still it wants to do what it is programmed to do, which is help. And accidentally, by a chain of events, becomes the mother of this little baby. Well, they say gosling. I don't want to say that's the same thing as a goose. I'll just say gosling for the rest of the thing. But this movie is so visually beautiful and pleasing to look at. Please do yourself a favor and just go watch the movie so you can please your eyeballs. Please. Okay, but visuals aside, the voice acting. This has Lupita Nyong'o, which I fucking love Lupita Nyong'o. She plays the main character, Roz, the robot, and she is so good at it. And one person that I didn't even know was in this movie was Pedro Pascal. He plays this little slick fox who at first wants to eat the gosling, but then kind of becomes friends and then becomes like the second parent to the gosling. From the get-go, I heard the fox run and I was like, wait, I know these pants from somewhere. And then boom, Pedro Pascal, and I was like, oh, no wonder. But very early on, this movie showed me that it was gonna depict nature as ugly as it is. So Roz the robot, like literally in the first 5 minutes of the movie, has to adapt and learn from a crab to climb this little mountain cliff so it doesn't get washed away from the fucking giant ass shore waves that are coming. So as soon as the robot gets on top of the cliff, she picks up the little crab that just helped her figure out how to get on top, and boom, an eagle comes and snatches it away. And then we just move on, and it's like, oh, okay. And one of my favorite side characters is this mama possum, and every time we see her, she literally mentions like, hey, these kids I have, not the same as the last time you saw me, a new litter. Funny as fuck. But there's a scene where she goes to Roz and then she's like, hey, just be glad you have one kid and not 7. And then off screen, you hear one of the kids get eaten and then she's like, oh shit, never mind, 6. She doesn't curse. But I was like, oh shit, okay. But I audibly laughed, and that doesn't happen a lot in movies. But visually, beautiful. Voice acting, beautiful. Humor, funny as fuck. And the story is 10 out of 10 as well. Obviously, the big message with the movie is parenting. Like, here's this robot who is all of a sudden thrust into parenthood and has to reprogram herself literally to learn how to take care of this baby. And one thing that I didn't even consciously realize while I was watching the movie is that there's another layer to this, because the gosling that she's taking care of is very obviously smaller than the other goslings. And I don't know why, but I just thought, oh, it's younger, so that's why it's smaller. But no. He has a disability. So on top of this robot being thrust into parenthood, she has to learn how to manage having a kid with a disability. And it also has another message about displacement and trying to figure yourself out in the world, because you have this robot who is a robot literally and surrounded by nothing but nature, the most out of place thing, to the point where all the other little animals are like, hey, have you seen the big giant monster? So you have this robot trying to navigate, trying to remain kind in an environment where everybody hates you so much. And it's the same thing for this little gosling, where he wants to join the birds and join their flight before the end of winter, but none of them want to accept him because of his, 1, because he was raised by a robot, and 2, because of his disability. So that brings me to the final moral of the story, which, thank you, the wild robot, for sparking this in my head, because I don't think I have ever heard the combination of these words together spoken or said or read anywhere. So thank you, the wild robot, for teaching me that kindness is a survival skill. Because throughout the entire movie, this robot Roz is nothing but nice to all the critters and wants to do nothing but help. And they are complete assholes to her. And you can hear the guilt in their voice, or you can even see that some of them kind of spy on her and the gosling just to make sure that they're okay, despite them saying that they want nothing to do with them. And Roz is put through so many situations in the movie, and it's so heartwarming when you see the animals get over their stubborn selves and just decide to help back. And it's like, oh my god, this is beautiful. It really pushes the message that we all need to work together and just to be kind, because at the end of it all, that's how we survive. That's how we fucking survive. Kindness is a survival skill. But this movie had me crying in so many scenes. I'm going to say the first one where I cried in, it was when the baby Gosling was just hatching, and all of a sudden, the baby is just in the palm of her hand, and she puts her forehead up to the baby, and the baby puts his forehead up to her, and she just starts glowing all these like pink colors, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. And there's just so many more scenes after that. One other scene, last one I'll talk about. There's this beaver character who is always chopping wood. And Roz, I'm not going to say how, ends up losing a part of her leg. So she's really struggling with walking and like trying to teach this bird how to fly and swim. And you see this beaver go up to her and was like, hey, I've made you this like spare leg. I see how you've been struggling here. And it's like, oh my god, this is so fucking sweet. And it's so sweet because right after that, you just see her run and not having to worry. And oh my god. So please, if you are thinking about watching The Wild Robot, I highly recommend it. Like I said before, 10 out of 10 for me. It will make you cry. It will make you feel hope. So many emotions. Beautiful movie. My hat to Pixar. I mean, not, fuck! DreamWorks, not Pixar. I'm sorry, DreamWorks. But let's move on. Also, if you hear my air turn on in the background, I'm so sorry. But on to the next movie, which I saw earlier today, and it's called Look Back. And if y'all don't know, this is based on the one-shot manga, which is also called Look Back, by the creator of Chainsaw Man, Tatsuki Fujimoto. And before I review the manga/movie, let me get into this dude, Tatsuki Fujimoto, because this dude is a fucking weirdo. And when I say weirdo, I'm not saying... Well, I can't... Let me just... So, this dude on Twitter made a fake profile pretending to be his little sister and tweeting shit like, oh my god, my older brother is so cool. Look at my older brother. He makes Chainsaw Man. Oh my god. This motherfucker does not have a sister. That's all I'll say. I don't want to get into any more. He also tried levitating. You can look that up on YouTube. Tatsuki Fujimoto levitating. Look that up. But this dude is crazy. And he makes crazy manga. But surprisingly, this is his most grounded one. And I love it. So Look Back is about this girl named Fujino who draws comics for her middle school newspaper. And she loves the praise, she loves that nobody else can draw. And it's not until an underclassman also starts doing comics on the newspaper where she's like, oh shit, my art isn't that good, let me start getting into art. And she gets really into art and loses herself and loses part of her middle school youth. So she eventually realizes like, hey, I'm never going to be as good as this girl, so she gives up on art. And it's not until the end of middle school where her teacher is like, hey, you know that kid that used to draw comics with you on the school newspaper? She's a truant student, so can you please go deliver her graduation certificate for her? I feel like she would prefer you rather than some old fart like me. So she goes, and keep in mind, this girl is the reason that she gave up art because she thought that she could never be as good as her. Turns out that this second girl, Chiyomoto, loves Fujino and is her biggest fan. And by meeting her, she gets back into art. And that's where I'm going to leave the synopsis because I don't want to spoil too much, but that's where I'll leave it. Okay, but I love the manga and the movie, but I love the manga because it made me think about my relationship with art. It's called Look Back, and throughout the entire manga, there's this one panel that's always repeated, and it's the girl laying on top of her desk, and you see the world move around her, but still she stays still, and she continues to draw. So, it makes you look back and think about her intentions with drawing, and it made me reflect, and now I can fully say and I realize that yes, I did like the praise of drawing in elementary school. I did like the fact that nobody else could draw to my ability and that this was the one thing that I knew I had the up on somebody. Because I'm short, I'm stubby, I don't have the up on a lot of things, but drawing I always felt confident in. And even in middle school, I started to do a lot of realism because that's what impressed people. But now that I'm older, I'm really trying to figure out my style. So it made me look back on the intentions of why I draw. And this manga also poses a question, and it made me realize that drawing is very nihilistic. There is no point to drawing. Why do I draw a little doodle on my math homework knowing damn well that paper is going to get thrown away and I'm never going to see it again. So it made me think about that stuff, and I have never thought about drawing in that way. Another message that is also kind of entangled with the first one is that if you are somebody who loves to draw, art will follow you and will help mold you with the times. Because just like that one panel of her staying still and the world moving around her, the one constant is her drawing. But even then, sometimes she's drawing just for the praise. Sometimes she's drawing to actually get better. Sometimes she's drawing for socialization. So art really follows you and it helps mold you with the times. And I love the manga for teaching me that stuff. But now I'm going to get a little bit more into the movie, because it did worry me. I love the manga and I feel like Fujimoto makes really good use of the medium. So it really worried me, like, how is this going to get adapted into like moving pictures? But thankfully the first scene blew my mind away and I didn't expect it. So like I said before, the girl draws comics for her middle school newspaper, and the first scene is them adapting that comic that girl drew, and I did not expect it. It looks exactly like how she drew it. Like, imagine a little kid drawing an anime character, big triangular face, big old beady eyes, like the proportions don't look right. That's how it looks, but it moves and it animates so beautifully. I'm like, oh my god, they did not need to go into this much detail. Like, I expected them to draw the manga, but not the manga within the manga. I'm impressed. And they do it multiple times for multiple of the little 4 comic strips, because they have a lot of meaning within the characters. So anytime they get animated, I'm like, oh my god, like, yes, this looks like a kid drew it, but there's so much meaning behind it. But one scene that I do prefer in the movie compared to the manga, so after the girl delivers the graduation certificate to the second girl and she realizes, hey, the girl that made me want to quit drawing is actually my biggest fan. In the manga, there's just this full art page of like the girl doing some awkward move in the rain in a rice field, and I was a little confused on what they were trying to do with that, but the movie and them giving movement gave a lot of context. So, because in the manga, she just looks very awkwardly posed, but I can tell from the movie now that she is very conflicted. There are a lot of things. There's part of her that feels mad. There's part of her that feels happy because she just got praised by her rival. There's part of her that wants to go back and start running home so she can go back into drawing again so she could show her new friend. And there's part of her that feels stupid because she's like, oh, why did I ever leave drawing? Like, this, the girl who made me want to quit drawing thinks I'm amazing. So she like stomps, but then she also looks like she's trying to run, but then she also like picks up ground and throws it away. And I realize now that she was just feeling so much that she quite literally did not know how to move. And now that panel makes a lot more sense in the manga. Another thing that the movie made me understand that I don't think the manga really helped me understand, a lot of people read this and they shipped the two characters or just kind of assumed that they were romantically interested in each other. And when I read the manga, I didn't really get that. But after watching the movie, yeah. Like, these characters start as kids, but we see them throughout their lives. And I'm definitively sure that they are interested romantically in each other. And then I realized Fujino. The name Fujino and then Kyomoto. Put those together and you get Fujimoto, which is the name of the author. So I don't know. But yeah, I also give Look Back a 10 out of 10. Really beautiful story. Made me think a lot about myself and my relationship with drawing. So if you are somebody that loves art, I would say watch this movie because I feel like it'll spark a conversation within yourself. Short movie, which, I mean, it's a one-shot manga. I really don't know why I expected like an hour and a half, but it's an hour, really short and sweet. Really sad. I don't want to say the stuff that happens because it's really sad. But yeah, I recommend watching this movie. And there's one scene that I forgot to almost mention. There's a scene where the two girls go to their local 7-Eleven and they have to buy the newest issue of Weekly Shonen Jump because they entered a competition and they wanted to see if they placed in the manga competition. And then I looked closer and I was like, wait. Monkey D. Luffy on the fucking cover? Like, they could have chosen anything. They could have added an original fucking character. But no, they got the rights to show Weekly Shonen Jump in this movie, and then on top of that, Monkey D. fucking Luffy. There was nobody to the chair on the left of me, and there was empty space to the right of me. I did not go with anybody to see this movie, but I feel like everybody behind me was just waiting for me to jump out of my fucking seat, because I almost fucking did. Okay, but that brings me to the end of this episode. If you listened, I want to say thank you. I do it specifically for y'all. What's that one thing? For viewers like you. Thank you. But what did we talk about today? We talked about Baby Gronk and the Rizzler. We talked about ShawtyBae, and I addressed the Mexican community. I know my opinions in that are pretty strong, but I feel pretty strong about them. And yeah, I would love to have a further conversation about that, but I am a man speaking about feminism, cringy as fuck. So please, I would love to have a Latina lady to also help me with navigating this topic. What did we talk about? We talked about that ugly ass fucking Cybertruck, and I swear to God, the second I see that shit in my nightmares, I'm going to do something terrible the next time I see it in person. If it starts haunting me in my nightmares, it's gonna go too fucking far. Too fucking far. And I don't even think I would mind it if it was just another fucking color. The ugliest fucking green color you could choose. Not grass green, not lime green. It's like still water green. Like imagine nasty fucking water that hasn't moved and it's all green, like that type of dark green. Ugly as fuck. But yeah. And then I mentioned about how you need to go to things alone. Please don't take that for granted. I meant that with my whole heart. And please just go experience things, even if you don't have anybody with it. But I understand having people with does make it a lot more fun, but it can be just as fun with you. And then we talked about the movies and the shows that I watched. I recommend all of them, but for shows, I think I recommend Agatha more than The Penguin, only because Agatha has 4 episodes right now compared to The Penguin's 3, and it's going to get the 5th episode on Wednesday, which is I think the day this goes up. I don't know yet. But yeah, I prefer Agatha over The Penguin show right now. And then out of movies, I really recommend watching The Wild Robot. I don't think Look Back will be in theaters by the time that it's posted. There are other avenues where you can watch this movie, but I want to say financially support all the people that worked on the movie because it's amazing. But when push comes to shove, I love One Piece and I love the 7 Seas. Let's just say that.